Hey, what's happening, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode as we're kind of hopefully getting to the tail end of this craziness. Looks like the country's opening up again, and people are going to hopefully start getting out and about a little bit more. Now, what's interesting, and the reason I'm doing this video today is, or this episode is, you know, we've all been stuck at home and had to look at, in many cases, for people doing their businesses slightly differently than perhaps they have in the past. Like some of you, perhaps when it comes to lead generation, have gotten involved in networking groups, things like Meetup or Chamber of Commerce groups or BNI and all these different types of things where you can create new relationships, new leads for your business by getting out, literally getting out into the marketplace and seeing and meeting people, right? And of course, having a lead generation strategy is very important for your network marketing business, any business. So you have to have some form of constant lead flow to be able to, create new business, new customers, new distributors, etc. And there are a lot of people that don't have a big budget to generate their own leads, right? Running an ad campaign, for example, on Facebook, or running pay-per-click ads on Google, or buying leads even, for example, something like that. So, and when, the beautiful thing is you don't really have to invest a bunch of money or any money to be able to generate leads for your network marketing business. Now, of course, if you have money to invest, you could run your own ad campaign, wherever that might be, online or offline. You could invest dollars in generating your own leads, but let's look at the situation that we've been in. Can't leave the house, stuck at home, can't go to the chamber event, can't go to the BNI, can't go to the meetup, don't have a budget to really work with. How can I generate leads for free without leaving my house? Well, one thing for sure I would say is, and you guys, especially those of you that have followed me for any period of time, know that my favorite way of recruiting outside of, warm market and people that I'm connected with and have some pre-existing relationship with is specifically recruiting professional people, realtors, insurance agents, mortgage people, small business owners, financial planners, people that are in authoritative marketing positions, sales positions. That's my favorite strategy for recruiting. And the beautiful thing is you don't ever have to pay for a lead. I've never once paid for a lead, because if I wanted to find a realtor, for example, I could go to Google and I could go Dallas real estate agents, or I could go to Denver insurance agents, Chicago personal fitness trainers, whatever it is, and I can find phone numbers of people to, if I needed to pick up the phone and engage those people in conversation, and it would never cost me a penny. That's something that in the situation that we've been in for the last couple months or the future would be something you can implement very, very easily, and it doesn't cost you anything to do it. I would recommend, if you have not gone through my training webinar on recruiting professionals, where I teach you how to do this stuff. In fact, I'll make sure my team puts a link for that into this post for my Recruiting Pros Masterclass, so that you can at least access that, start to learn some of that information, and then figure out what steps you want to take from there. The other thing is, because we're and have been stuck at home, and regardless of whether we're stuck at home or not, this is something that you can also do is social media, right? Now, I'm running an A-Team right now, which is this 12-week accountability program that I do every quarter. And there are a bunch of people in there that are like, I got no social media game. And it's like, I don't even want to learn the social media game, because either you're going to do social media and build your business, or you're not. I don't think there's an in-between. You're either, I'm using social media, or I'm just not. I don't think you can be kind of lukewarm in the social media spectrum of whether it's Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. You're either doing it or you're not. There's no in between. And so if you're doing it, by far one of my favorite ways to generate leads and new relationships using specifically Facebook is by getting into groups of something that you have a legitimate, real interest in or a high level of curiosity in. So there are Facebook groups for every imaginable subject matter you can ponder. I won't even get into it. There's literally Facebook groups for every possible subject matter you can think of. And so you can do a search at the top of Facebook and look for groups on a specific, let's say you're interested in vegan eating. You could type in vegan eating and find groups on vegan eating. You could, if you're into carnivore eating, you could do a search for carnivore eating. You could do a search for anything you want. And then what you do, now it has to, in my opinion, it has to be this. It has to be either something that you have a legitimate real interest or curiosity in or an expertise in. So if I'm like the vegan master, I could get into a vegan group and I could be perceived as a valued contributor in that community by providing, answers to questions and by being an active participant in one of those groups, a closed active group that you would go find. And by being a valued contributor, and that's the key thing. Then, by the way, that's the key thing, and I've mentioned this many times in the past. The key way to get is to give. So if you don't go into a group and see, hey, who can I recruit out of the group? It's like, hey, what can I give so that I can get? So the more value you add to the group, like if I was in a vegan, let's say I was the vegan master, which I'm not, but let's say I was. And I went into this vegan group and I'm answering questions about, food combinations and veggie combinations or meals and this and that. And people are like, damn, man, this guy is awesome. He's constantly in there helping me out, answering my questions. I'm going to go scope this person out. And they're going to scope you out on your personal Facebook page because that's what people do. And then they're going to go, oh, wow, look at this person. They look like they're having a blast in their life. Maybe I'm going to send them a friend request. And so you're able to create new relationships with people that you would never typically otherwise have a connection with by getting involved in groups that either A, you have a high level of experience in or a high level of curiosity in. And because you're in there being a valued contributor, people are going to check you out and you're going to connect with people and you're going to see somebody in that group and you go, oh, wow, who's this person? I'm going to check them out, send them a friend request. These are opportunities for you to take a very distant relationship and turn it into a closer, communicative relationship where you guys are in each other's circle, if you will, on a tighter degree rather than, hey, we just happen to be in the same group and we're not even aware of one another. So people can't be aware of you if you're just in a group. If you're in a group and you're contributing and you're active and you're involved in that group, then the group, the people that are participating in that group, they're going to be, of course, aware because you're in there commenting, you're posting, you're involved, you're adding value or you're asking questions. And that's a very, very powerful strategy. It's a long-term strategy for lead generation, but it's a powerful one in terms of you being able to make new connections for free without you having to do other things that are, pretty laborious. I mean, look, you could, for example, if you had a high level of expertise in a particular subject matter, you could start a blog and you could be blogging on that subject matter, which is, number one, a lot of work. Number two, a lot of time commitment. Number three, very long-term strategy. Yes, effective because you're driving traffic and you're putting out content and your content builds over time. You could start a YouTube channel if you got something good to say. But I don't know that I would necessarily put you in that direction unless you had something that was easy for you to talk about. Like if if I was trying to blog on chemical engineering, I would have one post that would say chemical engineering. And I would probably never have another one because I don't even know anything about chemical engineering. So it needs to be something that you legitimately, again, it goes to I have a high level of expertise in or I have a high curiosity level in. You could even have a blog, even if you're not an expert in something, but you have a high curiosity factor in it. And that blog could be built on you interviewing and asking questions of other experts in that field. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but there's, like if you're sitting at home and you've got no budget, nothing, you got no money to invest in lead generation, Facebook groups are one of the best things that you can do. And just social media in general, by being super active on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, it has to be very, very consistent, whether it's your personal profile or you getting involved in groups. Or by the way, this is another one. let's say there's a specific subject matter and you looked it up and you're like, well, there's some okay groups, but there's not the group that I would really want to be in. Well, you can create your own group. And you can, it's like that movie, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So if you create a group, you can create the group around whatever subject matter you want because it's your group. And you can start putting out content in that group and developing your own audience that way. That's another longer term strategy. It's free. It requires work. All these things require work, for the most part. I mean, probably the easiest one literally is if I didn't have anybody to talk to, I'm sitting at home and I wanted to talk to high level people, is utilizing what I teach in my recruiting professionals approach. And those are easy to find, free to find. And when you understand the strategy, which I teach in my recruiting professionals course, once you start recruiting up, you'll probably never recruit down again, because you just realize that the conversations that you're having are just so much better than most of the other conversations you're typically having. So just so you know, I want to do this because here we are stuck at home, but you're not stuck. You're not stuck. It's not like you can't build your business because you're at home. You can do, there's a lot of things that you can do to connect with people. Those are a few that I've just mentioned, and those are all basically free. So it's not hard. I think when you're resourceful, right? Well, one of the greatest qualities of an entrepreneur is being resourceful. It's like, oh, well, what am I going to do here? I got to build my business. I got to start thinking outside the box. I got to maybe think a little bit differently. I got to do things a little bit differently. I got no money. I'm stuck at home. What am I going to do? It's not like you're totally stuck. Use your brain and go, well, if I really just want to, I'm actually the result of a cold call out of the white pages. And I'm not at all suggesting you call people out of the white pages. I don't even know if the white pages even exist anymore. But that's how I got started in network marketing. Some guy cold called me off of a list of graduates from the marketing department at Long Beach State and looked me up in the white pages and picked up the phone and called me. It didn't cost him a penny. He did it for free, and here I am 30 years later. So does it work? Well, it clearly did with me. So just a couple ideas for you guys. Listen, I don't know where you're at. You might be on my YouTube channel. You might be on my podcast. If you're on my page, that's great as well. If you want to catch the full details of this episode, go to toddfalcone.com/episode 76. Again, TODDFALCONE.com/episode 76. Hope you're having an amazing week, and we'll see you next time.